The mood tracker is quite simply taking a temperature of the fan base. How are they feeling? Tonight we're doing Georgia. The mood at Georgia is sort of like a first on the frontier sort of mood. We don't really get to experience this anymore because we've seen everything there is in the United States. But once upon a time, folks were sort of seeing it and saying, where is everybody? Wow, this is just wide open. We can go explore. We can go catalog things, chart things, claim. You can do that as well. Anytime you're new at a party, you walk in and there's a buffet over here and no one's touched it yet, you realize, wow, I'm first at the party. Now, some people say it's lame to be first at the party. But if all the food is untouched, that's not lame, especially if you're like me and you know you're going to leave early. Georgia is kind of looking over the frontier of college football. You got a new college football playoff era. You've got a new era in the SEC with teams coming in. You've got a new coaching era with Nick Saban no longer being here. You've got a new rules era where revenue sharing is part of the equation. And basically, in any of those categories you look and you ask, who's better positioned than Georgia? Georgia's the best positioned program in the country right now. The last 5 years in recruiting, they finished first, fourth, third, second, first on the field. Last 5 years, 12-2, 7-3 in the COVID year, 14-1, national title, 15-0, national title, 13-1, played in the SEC championship game last year. They're already rolling. It's not like I'm predicting anything crazy here, but now you get to the new frontier, and you look at Clemson, and everyone's asking questions about whether Clemson's still going to be around. Is Clemson still Clemson? They're not asking that about Georgia. I've seen a lot of, for some reason, over the weekend, comparisons between Kirby and Dabo. I don't even know the context there. I have no clue where it came from, so you guys do with that what you want to. They're not talking about those two programs the same way, though. There's no question about the trajectory of Georgia. The biggest blessing here is Kirby Smart, which I know sounds very commonsensical. Like, people listen to that and say, oh, what, duh? You're telling us Kirby Smart's good? What I'm telling you is even the people who think he's the best in the game, some of them don't get how good he is. You see him win on Saturday. I truly think it's lost on a majority of people because, quite frankly, unless you've seen it up close, you probably can't fully appreciate what it takes to have a program operating at this level, a major college football program. I'm not telling you how hard it is to win a title. Teams have done that before. Coaches have done that before. And then 5 years later, you're asking what happened. I'm talking about taking one that hasn't cruised at that level consistently. They've been at a really good level. Have them cruise at an elite level and then not get drowned by complacency. That alone, come what may on the field, that alone is one of the biggest accomplishments that you can have in high-level competition. And Kirby's done it. When we were there this spring, we sat down with him. He was on the show for like 30, 40 minutes or something like that. And I was asking, how much of being a coach can you not know about until you become a coach? He said about 90% of it. And then I asked him, you guys failed to meet your expectation last year. Was it complacency, or did you just not have the ball bounce your way? And he explained it pretty methodically. I don't think there was an ounce of complacency. I don't think they have not dealt with that there. I don't think they've dealt with that on a large scale at Georgia. That's the biggest credit. Kirby never had a head coaching job before he was there. So it's not like he brought decades of experience in. He's learned on the fly. I don't care who he learned under. Saban had countless other guys go off and try it their way, and they failed. He's legit. That's why it's worked for him. I think he may be at the best job in the country, but no one else has done what he's doing there. So it's not the job that's doing it. It's the dude who has the job who's doing it. And I know everyone looks at him, and if you look at any given power rating of head coaches right now, chances are Kirby's number one or number two, probably number one. I don't think those folks even really get how good he is. It's just so unfathomable. Number one, how hard it is to win consistently. Even if you recruit top classes every year, just how hard it is to win. He says that stuff all the time. Some folks call BS on it. He's right. He's right. It's insanely hard to win, even if you got the more talented roster. We score in 3s and 7s in this game. Ball bounces really funny ways. Injuries happen at the most inopportune of times. Being good comes with a cost. Everyone puts the crosshairs on your forehead. So there are a million consequences to that success. But the winning is one thing. But the sustaining, man, It's so hard. You could be in business, it could be in football, it could be wherever you want to talk about. The default in everyone's mind now, though, is we got to go through Georgia. And that's the way they talked about Bama for a long time under Nick Saban. Didn't matter how good you thought a team was in August, whether it was LSU or maybe it was Tennessee, maybe it was Georgia. You always knew in the back of your mind, hey, we're good. I think we're really good. We're probably going to have to go through Alabama at some point. Well, now they think that about Georgia. We're good. Ohio State right now. Think we got the best team in the country. I'm sure Texas feels really good, but you know what Texas knows? Texas knows we're going to have to go through Georgia, quite literally. They're coming to our house. Ohio State got a taste of it a couple of years ago. Ohio State played an A game. One of the best games I've been to was that playoff game, semifinal in Atlanta a couple of years ago. C.J. Stroud played the best game of his career, and it wasn't enough. I was talking to Jesse about this before the show. Do you have any idea how many times Ohio State actually loses that game? If they play their A game, Ohio State wins that thing 9 times out of 10 because you have no business being within single digits of Ohio State with Stroud at quarterback, and that roster is loaded as it is if they play their A game. Ohio State plays their A game, Stroud plays like a maniac, and Georgia somehow, someway still wins, still finds a way to win. That's in the back of your mind every year. No matter how good we are, we're going to have to go through Georgia at some point. Now, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but that's the default in everyone's mind. That's how you know you're the standard in college football. People compare themselves to you. At Georgia, they don't compare themselves to anyone but a standard. That's because you're the standard. So the mood amongst Georgia fans obviously is pretty confident, and they're very well positioned, even being on this sort of new frontier. Now, that's not a guarantee of anything. Kirby may never win another national title because it's really hard to do. He may win 4 of them because he's well positioned to do so. There are no knowns, but the certainty in this sport is Georgia will be in the mix every year, and that's all you can ask for.